Certainly, my name is Keith Hargreaves, and I'm very fortunate to be the community development worker for the SAGE programme, which specifically looks after the older LGBT groups in Leeds. It is a project run and organised and managed by MESMAC, Yorkshire MESMAC, in particular the Leeds office, which is much more to do with sexual health for a broader range of people, but it does have support to the elderly LGBT groups as one of its focuses. I was a bit of a skeptic about mindfulness, and I had, because I had very little experience of it. So when Minotti came to us and said, would it be something that the older LGBT groups would be interested, I said immediately yes, because I don't know everything. And obviously mindfulness and the general well-being is so important for older LGBT groups who are particularly marginalised and particularly prone to loneliness and isolation. So anything that we can do to alleviate that was obviously very important. So having discussed a bit further what the format would be, it struck me that actually there would be all sorts of benefits from that type of work. And particularly as it was during the COVID period when we weren't really able to meet face to face, and isolation was even more complicated, even more noticeable. Anything which allowed people to work together, learn about new things, and essentially increase the amount of time we have together was very important. So we arranged about, I think it's something around 6 or 7 initial meetings around the thinking and the idea that mindfulness and well-being were important. And we went through them and they were incredibly successful. And I was very pleased to say that I was wrong. In fact, some of the people that I expected to be a bit sort of wary of the process of mindfulness, in fact, embraced it wholeheartedly. And that was wonderful for me. Because one, it opened my eyes, and two, it really helped many of the people that we're working with. And some show that the second sort of round, as it were, of mindfulness sessions that we put together, particularly Minotti suggested to us, involved the idea of actually taking it one step further and doing some sort of public performance related to these activities. And once again, my mind was very much, I'm not really sure whether that's something that some of the older members will do. And once again, I was completely proved wrong. And that's fantastic. And in fact, we put on an evening of events, somewhat like a sort of review format, which went down incredibly well. And I really honestly believe that everyone who was involved in it and everyone who watched it on the evening just thoroughly enjoyed the time. And actually many of us, including myself who took part, were really amazed at the skills and the new ways of looking at things that we were able to use on that evening came to the fore. And we all went away feeling so much better and so much more, good about ourselves. And once again, it was an opportunity to decrease the amount of time we spend on our own, do something positive, build up our resilience. And I would thoroughly recommend any program that does something similar. I think there was, at the beginning, there was an interest to work closely together with the TPL Experiences. I think the different ethos between what is essentially a sort of a business and the NGO community. At first, we would have to think, okay, well, how can we sort of work together, because we have different views, and we have not really different views, but different goals, if you like. But very quickly, it became very clear that actually this was not going to be a barrier at all, because the content of the work that we did together was exactly, as we came to find out, was exactly what we needed, really. And it actually didn't matter what the format was, whether it was a business or whether it was an NGO. The key thing was that it was something that we could use and we would feel very comfortable with. The experience was really easy to actually, because essentially, because we had the shared goal, then it was just a question of, okay, using the skills that Minotti had to develop the program, decide how many times we needed to meet, really make sure that the format was correct. And then very luckily, very close to the end of the period before, we had the evening show at the end of the second set of activities. COVID had been sort of, well, the levels of COVID had reduced, so we were able to meet face to face. So that was fantastic, because that actually gave us a proper understanding of what we might be doing, what more we could be doing, rather than just sitting in our chair, which was very important, online. And we could do a bit more of movement, and we could do more things which allowed us to actually get even more actually from the sessions. So what was so nice about working together was that we obviously, that Minotti has so much experience in putting together the programs. We were a willing audience. We had the time, we had the funds, and if that was the only thing that was, that was brilliant in itself. But I think what happened is that we saw quite late on that there are many more things we could do. And again, Minotti had the skills, and she'd done this many times before. She saw in us something that we didn't see in ourselves, which was that actually we could take this a lot further than we thought we could. And we did do that. And as I said, it was a very, very successful evening when we put all of the things we'd learned together and showcased them in front of a group of people who were very supportive. And it was an incredibly powerful and a wonderful evening. Really, I would, to anyone out there who's wondering, like I was, just what mindfulness can do for you, and what really does it all mean, I would thoroughly recommend Minotti in several ways. Firstly, to get you to understand the benefits of mindfulness and well-being in general, such that you get an understanding of what, as we did, I think, what we could get out of working together with her and with the TPL experiences more broadly. Secondly, I think, it's always good to be pushed, isn't it, into things that maybe you haven't thought about. And somebody that has a set of skills that you don't have is a really good resource. So I would absolutely recommend you, any organization, any individual in that, to contact her and to contact the organization and find out what they can offer you, because we were very much impressed with what we did. And, as I'm constantly saying to everybody that wants to listen, I would do it again with no hesitation whatsoever.